You're listening to Create Wealth Through Franchising, and I'm your host, Kim Daly. In my 20 years as a franchise consultant, I've helped hundreds of people achieve their dreams of building and scaling franchise businesses to create wealth. The interview you're about to hear can also be found on my YouTube channel, where I post new franchising content multiple times per week. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and to my YouTube channel at kimdaly.tv. Now, enjoy the show. Welcome back to Kim Daly TV. I have a special guest with us today. Her name is Amy Wise. She is a longtime franchisee of a company that's actually probably going to surprise a lot of people that this is even a thing in franchising. The name of the business is called DoodyCalls, so we're going to be talking about dog poop today. Amy, welcome to the studio of Kim Daly TV.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are going to be such a delightful interview today because I think you're going to have a great story that's going to inspire a lot of people. Let's start at the beginning of the conversation because you've been a franchisee for a long time. So take us back 16 years ago. What were you thinking? What was happening in your life? And why did you look to franchising for your next career choice?
It all started from we were pregnant with our second child. With my first child, I was not able to stay at home and I worked, outside of the home. And I just really my thought was, what is something we can do that we can start out of the house, and I can be home with my new baby. And I started searching on websites, looking at moms work from home, and I was seeing all these businesses like party planners and things like that. And I was like, you know what? There's probably somebody else that can do all that better than I can. But then I saw this pooper scooper, and back then, it really wasn't a thing. The industry didn't exist. And I just kept coming back to it. I was currently, at the time, I was in pharmaceutical sales, and that is an extremely complicated sales process. And I wanted something that didn't have a lot of moving parts. And I'm like, well, scooping poop seems pretty straightforward and simple. Right. And my other thought was, I'm old enough that, when I was a kid, nobody paid to get their lawn mowed. You did it, the kids did it. And I was like, this could trend like that to where how many people pay to get their lawn mowed now? Yeah. I mean, me too. And so me and my husband were like, we think this could fall into that same category. And we decided that we were just going to start it ourselves. And in my research, I found this company called DoodyCalls. And I gave them a call and we flew up there and met them. And I'm pregnant. I think I was the fourth franchise to purchase from our founder at the time. And it just seemed like something we wanted to do. And it didn't have a lot of moving parts and the overhead was low. My most expensive thing at the time was a truck. We started at our house and we made the decision, and I started the business with a 6-week-old baby, which retrospectively don't necessarily recommend that to everybody. But we started from there, running out of our house. A few years later, we're in an office and we're here today, and we have a team of I think we have around 14 team members. And we're out there scooping poop every day. And the industry has grown to where it used to be where I tell them what I did and they're like, you do what? And now at least there's a lot more people that are aware that we exist.
It's so good. I
so
love
crazy.
this business. Now, I'm a customer. I have
Yes.
2 golden doodles, as my followers know, Chloe and Quinn. And every Wednesday, I get the text about 15 minutes before, we're headed your way.
Right.
If I'm down there, I'll watch the guy. He enters one gate in my yard and he crisscrosses my backyard, exits the other. It takes him maybe 5 minutes because I think he knows where my dogs poop.
Right.
Dumps it into his truck, off he goes and to the next house. I mean, and I've been paying that guy Chloe's 9. Right? And so when we added on the new dog, we added a few more dollars a week for the extra poop.
Yeah.
And that's that. And every month he just bills my credit card. I don't talk to anybody. It's just one of those services that if you have a dog and you have a pool or a backyard, like I have boys and they want to play
Mm-hmm.
soccer and lacrosse out there. I mean, we don't want to be, running up over the landmines or
Right.
stepping on them, worse yet. And so it's a service that it just makes sense if you can afford
Mm-hmm.
it and
Mm-hmm.
it's long-term sustainable. So I love this conversation, but it's so like, oh my gosh, that's a franchise?
Yeah, and you just hit like literally on all of the main reasons people hire us. And I still have my first original customer from 16 years. Now it's been different dogs, and things like that. But you hit on a lot of the things I think of why people like our service. One is you don't have to talk to us, but we come, we do a great job, we leave, and it's one thing off your to-do list that you don't have to mess with. And we usually do a better job than most people do in their
Oh,
own yard
yeah. Well,
anyways.
totally. Then if I was leaving it to my teenage boys, right? But the other
Exactly.
problem is like, where do you put it? So,
Yeah.
like our guy carries it away. I know
Hmm.
that you have a model where you can leave it in the person's garbage too. But
Right.
okay, so I've learned by talking to Larry, I
Hmm.
learned a few interesting things about you, Miss Amy, that I want to point out to my listeners because this isn't just any franchisee we're talking to. She is a top franchisee. And those of you who listen to The Daily Show, you know that I love to find the most inspiring stories in a franchise because the people who have mastered the model, they have what we want, right? The people who are struggling, they haven't yet figured it out. People like Amy, she's been in it for a long time. I'm sure she's had different phases of ownership where she felt not so successful and not so successful, but she's definitely mastered the model to get to where she is today, to have the size of the business that she has. And in fact, she was named by the IFA as Entrepreneur or Franchisee of the Year for 2022. That's quite an accolade, Amy. Were you totally surprised by that? And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's incredibly humbling to get something like that because it's called Franchisee of the Year. I mean, it should be Franchise of the Year because it's the team. It's just very, very humbling because I'm surrounded. What I love about the DoodyCalls franchise, we are colorful people. One, not everybody is an entrepreneur, and two, not everybody goes, I think I want to pick up poop for a living. So we have this diverse, talented group. And so it's just incredibly humbling to be singled out and receive an award like that. And I'm really, really grateful.
Hey, Daly Coach fans, if this franchise sounds like a fit for you, I would love to be your Daly Coach. Email me right now for a totally free consultation at inquire@kimdaly.tv. For those people who don't know, the IFA is the International Franchise Association, which is the largest governing body in the franchise industry that kind of regulates all that we do here in franchising. So it is quite an honor. It's absolutely amazing. I was like,
Well,
Larry,
thank you.
if you have a franchisee of the year by the IFA, I want to meet this woman. So get this,
Thank you.
guys. She also has become, over time, the commercial sales trainer for DoodyCalls. So we're going to talk about the commercial side of your business too, Amy.
Mhm.
And then she's also now a business advisor for her fellow franchisees because of all that she's learned and all that she's mastered. This idea that when you invest in a franchise, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You're surrounded by people who want to lift you up and support you. And she's one of those amazing people inside this franchise. And people may be like, really? Like, you do that? Why would you give of your time to help other franchisees? So, Amy, let's start right there. Why do you give of your time to help your fellow DoodyCalls franchisees?
Well, as far as the commercial training side, that started before I was had the position of the business advisor. And that is when you can't talk to another business owner and not learn something. It's just, and it's also very personally satisfying if you have experience that you can share with somebody else, save them. I've paid a lot of stupid tax over the years, and if I can save anybody on that, I'm more than happy to do that. And at the training side, you're dealing with franchise owners that are just coming in, as far as that part of it. Um, in what we have. We have what we call poop school, that when you get started, you go through poop school. And that, me doing that training at that time, but you are bringing in people from all different backgrounds. We don't ever bring in anybody who has scooping experience, right? So they are all, and so you can learn a lot. And it's when you have fresh eyes looking at something that you've done for a long time, they can have a perspective that you hadn't thought of. That we all, as long-term entrepreneurs, need to always be able to refresh our thoughts and look at things from a different viewpoint. So there's lots of good reasons to do that, and it's just fun. I enjoy doing that. So.
It's really, really nice. And
Mhm.
going back to your Franchisee of the Year award, guys, you can clearly see why she's so successful. I mean, she's here to serve other people, right? So she's not even going to take all the credit for being Franchisee of the Year. She's going to put it back on her team. But I say that all flows back to you, girl, because it's your leadership over that team, right? It's your vision. It's the personality and character that you're bringing to your business that then your employees are carrying out into their job. So I think it all flows back to you. And then to become an advisor to other franchisees, it's incredible. And I know I have that honor in my business as well. And like you said, it is so gratifying. And, for those people that are listening to this, who you're in a corporate America position and you don't know a world where people genuinely want to help you succeed, like that's what we do here in franchising. It's one of the reasons that I fell in love with this industry 25 years ago, right? When I found this industry called franchising, where every day people wake up to help other people live their dreams, I was like, Kim Daly has found her homeland and her people. And it sounds like you have too, Amy.
Yeah, and that's a real common theme, like on our team as well. It takes a while to put together a really good team. But when you start getting more people that think the way we need to think, they can help bring on others, or if people don't fit into that mindset, they'll leave on their own. So surrounding yourself by people that want to serve other people pretty much makes everybody happy, because everybody's
Yeah.
getting served.
Yes. And you mentioned poop training, but I know there's also something called the poop net, because I've heard, in our consultant training,
Mhm.
we've learned a lot about the technology side of this
Mhm.
business, which again, it's kind of funny. It's like, why would you need technology for such a simple business? But tell us why.
Well, there's a lot to manage, like in any business, and having a new system like what we're calling PoopNet, and we're in the process of rolling out, that is communication. We can communicate. We need to be able to communicate with our customers very clearly, very concisely. We need to make it easy for them to sign up. Some people want to talk to people. Some people don't. We need to give them both options. Um, the technology aspect of having an app that's developed, in a customer portal that's easy for them to use, isn't just an extra. It's kind of expected today. And we might scoop poop, but I like to say we're more a customer service business who happens to pick up poop. And I think we do impress people. They're like, man, we just thought y'all scooped poop. No, we're serious about poop. We'll be, if you think of poop, I want you to think of me. Never thought in my life I'd ever say that. But we're here for the long haul, and we want to be professional, efficient, and we need that to offer that convenience to our customers.
What do you think are the most important characteristics of a person to be successful in this particular franchise?
DoodyCalls is a long-term business, a long-term investment. Um, if you're looking for something that you can just quit your job in the first month, DoodyCalls is probably not the best fit for you. But again, I mentioned I've had my reoccurring, or my original first customer. So when you ask me that question, the reason like I pause is there's so much I want to say. Um, but what we do is not rocket science. It's simple. That doesn't mean it's easy. And I think as franchise owners, you need to come into a company, and I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm going to say this, to pick the right company or the right franchise you want to purchase. Is it a good culture fit for you? Are you feeling like you could be at home in this group? And then you're given all the tools to succeed. It's up to you to succeed. Anybody buying a franchise, I feel like sometimes people might have the impression, well, it's just going to happen for me. We have very extensive tools,
Sometimes, Amy.
right? Sometimes,
Sorry to cut you off.
yeah, no, but we have extensive tools, extensive experience to work off of, but you have to be engaged. You have to reach out when you need it. As a franchise owner, what I've loved about DoodyCalls is I was not micromanaged ever, but if I needed help, they were there for me. But you have to reach out for help. You have to understand, and this isn't just DoodyCalls, I think this is just entrepreneurship. You might have some days where you're like, I wish I hadn't done this. This is hard. This is stressful. But then you have those days where you're so happy you did it. And when those days that you're feeling down, you need to reach out. And sometimes you can have a franchise owner call you and they think they're calling you for a particular reason, but it ends up they just needed to vent about their frustrations and talk to somebody who's been there. To be successful, you have to put one foot in front of the other. Life happens, hurricanes happen, system
If you're in
failure.
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Not in New Hampshire.
Right. Yeah.
But snowstorms happen.
Yes, in your region, something can happen and you have a choice. Do you say, oh my gosh, this is too hard. I don't like this. I want out of this, which, you know what? If that's how you feel, then maybe it's not for you and that's an okay choice to make. Or you say, wow, this is a lot, but we're going to face it. We're going to work through it and we're going to keep moving forward. And that's how you're successful. I'm 53 years old. I've done this a long time. We can have something really big happen. I don't panic as much as I used to. I'm not saying I don't ever go, oh, why'd that happen? But I now know that if you keep putting one foot in the front of the other, I don't need to be the smartest person in the room, but I need to surround myself with those smart people and learn who to reach out to. You're going to get through it. But you have to have that grit. You have to have that resiliency. And I think a positive attitude is going to get you through. A bad attitude is going to make you miserable whether you're in the right place or not. So I think those are all kind of keys to being successful and being happy while you're successful.
Hey, Daly Coach fans, if you're inspired by this conversation, I invite you to email me right now to explore this franchise opportunity. My email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. Everything you said, people have heard through multiple other episodes on this very YouTube channel, Amy. It is also very well spoken, and I think it's better received over time when it comes from a fresh voice. And it's so, I'm over here shaking my head in case the camera wasn't on me, just assuring you like, yes, keep going, because everything you say is so powerful and so true, spoken from someone who's been in it, in the trenches, doing it. It's so real. I love it. I want to go back to the commercial side of this business and talk a little bit about that, because who would think like you have a commercial side? But I also just want to comment, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this particular concept onto my YouTube channel right now and spotlight it was, look, it's no secret that during 2020, one of the biggest explosions was in puppies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like everybody got a pool and a puppy during COVID.
That's right.
So you have this explosion of dogs, which I think creates a really unique opportunity in the entire pet services industry. But especially for something like this, for those people who are like, yeah, but I don't want retail because Chewy and Amazon, or I don't want grooming because how do you find specialized people with talent to groom a dog, and liability? This is a really simple business, as she said in her words. It's simple and easy, or it's easy, but it's not simple, right? It's not the same thing, but it's a really simple business that you can start from home, fairly low investment, and scale from there. It's long-term sustainable. So it has these characteristics that can appeal to a wide range of people. A lot of my listeners are multifamily, long-term and short-term rental people. And I think that DoodyCalls is a really nice ancillary business or secondary business to add on, because if you're renters, whether they're long-term or short-term, if you're if you allow them to bring their pets or have pets, you can double dip, from the secondary service, just like you would if you added on a cleaning company, especially if you're in short-term rentals. So I think that there's a lot of synergy in this type of business service to a lot of the listeners of Kim Daly TV. So let's go back and talk about this commercial sales trainer in you. So what is the commercial side to Duty Calls?
Well, it can be a little broad, but there are two main commercial customers we have right now is HOA management companies and apartment communities. But commercial can also include the pet-friendly restaurant or the boarders, that need us to come by and remove the pet waste or things like that. But we'll start with the apartments and HOAs. So they are hiring us to come and remove their pet waste from their property. So we're basically an extension of their maintenance team. We also sell and install pet waste stations. Like you might have seen one in the park, they have the dispenser at the top and the receptacle at the bottom. We'll go remove the pet waste from the receptacle, put in new roll bags at the top, trash bag at the bottom. We'll also go scoop all the common areas. And so we are, like I said, an extension of their maintenance team here across the country, but also especially here in Houston. Apartment communities are extremely competitive, and they need those properties to be shiny, sparkly, clean, and we're there to help them with that. We tend to do a lot better job than when they try to do it themselves. Their maintenance team can be pulled to other projects or pressing needs. We can consistently show up, keep it clean and nice for them, and we have, when I started here in Houston, that was something in the apartment industry, a service that didn't exist. So it took us like a whole year to get our first customer, and it has just been a very substantial part of our business. Right now, we're about 55% residential, about 45% commercial, and it's just a very lucrative part of our business. I wish we could measure how many pounds of poop we pick up even a day, but and again, with the apartment and the commercials, we're not going to walk past a Coke can on the ground. We're not going to walk past a cigarette butt, and we can come in and canvass the entire area. Or the areas they contract us to do, and it's just one less thing they have to worry about. And they find it's also very affordable when you look at per unit cost, that it's cheaper to hire us than them to pay somebody to do it.
So you've been doing this for a really long time. Would you have ever imagined when you said yes to this 16 years ago, leaving the pharmaceutical sales industry, that this business would have changed your life in the ways that it has?
I will say that was the plan. We started this, me and my husband, and said, we want to change our family tree, and we didn't want to do this for a couple $100 extra a weekend. I would say what I wasn't aware of, and what I'll tell anybody starting a business, it's going to take longer than you think. It's going to take more work than you think, and it's going to cost more money than you think. And that's not a duty calls thing. That's just business.
It's just life.
And yeah, and I will say
Like
that,
raising kids.
yeah, right. I will say we have learned so much, and I'm so thankful. I don't regret it. Do I have a day where it's like, man, this is hard? Yeah, sure, but I don't regret it. I'm so, again, humbled that things work out like this, and you meet so many wonderful people. That was the plan. I didn't know if it was going to happen or not, though. And surprise, in a way, it's surprising, but the other side, where it's not, is we've put our blood, sweat, and tears into this, and so that part's not surprising because we've worked hard for this. And in today's, a lot of mind frames that are put out there today is this idea that things are just going to happen, or it's just not like that. Anything worth having is hard work and very rewarding.
Well said. For anybody who is inspired by this conversation and wants to learn more about the Duty Calls business, Please follow the email on the screen right now or reach directly out to me at inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. Amy, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your soul, your experiences with the viewers of Kim Daly TV. You have been a true inspiration.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, really, really great interview, really great information, so real, top performing, and yet so humble and so real about it's not instant, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you keep doing it day by day, working your daily plan, you can get there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your Daly Coach. If you found this inspiring, please contact me at inquire@kimdaly.tv. My consulting services are totally free to you. Again, that email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. I can't wait to hear from you.